Hello, and welcome to How to Fashion Design. I'm Bob Martin, and I'm going to be your tutor throughout this lesson. Now, this lesson is the first in a series of 6 that pertain to garment construction. In this section, we're going to learn the sewing and assembly of basic garments. Now, as a designer, it is important that you know the proper techniques to making clothes. Now, I know fashion is all about innovation and breaking the rules, but you first must know those rules before you can break them. So let's just say I wanted to design a collar that stands a certain way or twists a certain way. I should first know what makes a proper collar stand up straight and lay flat. So in other words, I know the rules that I need to break in order to achieve the design that I want. Now, there are a lot of other reasons why it's important to understand good garment construction. Now, as a designer, your designs will be innovative and they're going to be questioned and challenged by others. But if you can sit down at a machine, something like this, and not only prove that they can be done, but done well, then you possess the greatest skill of all, and that's power. Finally, a well-made garment will always be acknowledged and noticed, whether it be your client, your employer, your staff, or even your tutor. Now, in this lesson, I've designed a project called the Hooded Scarf. We're going to work through that project step by step. So even if you've never sewn a stitch or used a sewing machine, there's no need to worry because we're going to do it together. What I suggest that you do is you watch each section first and then play it back and watch it along and do it with me. Okay, we have a lot to get covered, so let's get started. Now, the combs are located in a stitch plate. The stitch plate has some measurements on. There's a few other things that I want to point out to you before we begin. And then there's a little crease in my case. One thing I'm looking for is the thread tension. Now, what I mean by that is if you have a look at some of these illustrations that I have on the screen. Now, in our first illustration, you'll see that the top thread is too loose. How I know that is the bobbin thread is actually pulling the top thread through the 2 pieces of fabric, and it can be seen on the underside. Okay, you should have the pattern that comes with this lesson. Let's just take it out and have a look. Now, I made these sewing exercises so that you could get used to using your machine. I'm going to start out slow until I get used to it. Your foot pedal is like a gas pedal of a car. It should accelerate the further down you press. Now that we've finished our exercises, we can go ahead and cut out the rest of our pattern pieces. Now I can place a pin there. Now I'm making sure too that my patterns aren't overlapping anywhere. So I'm going to place a couple more pins to make sure that that piece stays in place. Now that I have my pieces all pinned tight to my fabric, I can cut them out. Now here's where accuracy comes in. You want to make sure that you cut right beside your pattern. And as I come to an end, I'm going to backstitch and go forward. Now, one thing I do want to mention here is if you're using a fabric that's not muslin, or like your final fabric or fabric of your choice, again, you want to make sure that inside is the 2 right sides. So this would be the wrong side of the fabric and this would be the wrong side of the fabric. About 3/4 of an inch away from each other. Will follow nice and smooth. We'll give it a final press at the end. Now, I made this out of a fleece, which I suggest on your pattern envelope. You'll notice how the print completely changed the looks of the hooded scarf. This is the same one that we made. Now, a fleece, it doesn't fray, so instead of doing the turn hem, I literally just used the zigzag stitch, which is on most sewing machines. Just went around the edge to give it a bit of texture and decoration. But you can see how the print really has an effect on it. Now I know that your knowledge is limited at the moment, but try your best to make each project, including the hooded scarf, an original. So keep practicing in your muslin. When you get used to it and get comfortable, try a new fabric. And one other thing, make sure that you let me know what you're doing. I'd love to see a picture of it, so send one to me. And who knows, maybe you'll be on howtofashiondesign.com. So until next time, I'm Bob Martin, and happy designing.
How to Fashion Design with Bob Martin will give you the confidence you need to design original collections and communicate them to your potential clients.